Good morning. I'm Ellison Barber.
And I'm Valerie Castro. Joe and Savannah are on assignment. Right now on Morning News Now, shot down. The military takes down another flying object over the U.S. It's the fourth flying object to be shot down over North American airspace in less than 2 weeks. We have the latest on this new one. Plus, have these objects gone unnoticed before, or are these new to American airspace? What the military is trying to figure out this morning. 1 week later, at least 35,000 people have now died following the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. And this morning, rescuers are still hoping to find survivors in the rubble. We are on the ground where those rescue efforts are happening as the pressure grows for more international aid. Also this morning, the AI race. Artificial intelligence is becoming a topic we discuss daily, and some of the biggest tech companies are building upon that. We're taking a look at the new ways the tech world is bringing AI into our everyday lives. Plus, another ring. The Kansas City Chiefs win their second Super Bowl in just 4 years. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs putting up a fight against the Philadelphia Eagles in a nail-biting 38-35 victory. We have a recap of the game and how Kansas City is celebrating this morning. Plus, the halftime show a lot of us are talking about this morning. Rihanna performed some of her biggest hits last night and dropped a surprise for fans. We have the big news she revealed during her performance. I forgot just how many hits she actually had.
So many. I made it through her performance. Then I was like, okay, now I will go to bed. As long as I saw that I was done. She was fantastic. For sure, the highlight. It's good to be with you.
You too. Agreed. Great to see her, and great to see you as well. And we begin this morning with more unidentified objects in the skies over the United States.
Yeah, the Pentagon has confirmed that 3 objects have been shot down in American airspace since Friday, just 1 week after the military brought down a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon off the coast of South Carolina. The latest object was shot down over Lake Huron yesterday. It was initially spotted over Montana, but made its way across Wisconsin and Michigan. The FAA temporarily restricted planes from flying over Lake Michigan until military jets could take it down. On Saturday, an American F-22 fighter jet brought down an object flying at 40,000 feet over Canada after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau ordered it shot down. And on Friday, another F-22 shot down an object off the coast of Alaska. White House officials say that the objects were much smaller than the balloon that was brought down in South Carolina. John Kirby, the spokesperson for the National Security Council, says they do not know a whole lot about these objects.
We're calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now. We do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned. We just don't know. A recovery effort will be made, and we're hopeful that it'll be successful, and then we can learn a little bit more about it.
We have NBC News White House correspondent Carol Lee and global security reporter Dan DeLuce joining us to help break all of this down. Guys, there is a lot to keep up with here. So, Carol, let's start with you. It seems like the White House and Pentagon are walking a fine line here. They're publicly acknowledging these objects, characterizing the one from this weekend as posing a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flights. But at the same time, it also seems like they're trying to avoid aggressively pointing the finger at someone. Is that fair to say? What's your take on kind of this line, if you will, the White House seems to be walking?
I think you have it right, Allison. They are trying to walk this line. And the problem is, though, that they're then not answering a lot of the questions that are hanging out there that Americans have when they see things being shot out of the sky across the country nearly on a daily basis now. So they did have a briefing by a senior Pentagon official last night who basically said, look, we're scrutinizing the airspace a lot more carefully than we had been before. And so that could account for some of this increase in objects that are being discovered and then shot out of the sky. But they don't know. They don't know what these things are. We are told that they are the size of a car as opposed to 3 buses, which is the size of the Chinese alleged spy balloon. But they don't know exactly what it is. And the Pentagon official said she wasn't ruling anything out, even aliens, Ellison, although a defense official later said, look, we don't see any evidence of extraterrestrial activity here. But this is a problem for the White House and for the president because Americans have a lot of questions. They're piling up. And we haven't seen anybody, a senior face from the White House, step out and up to the president and say, yeah, here's what's going on now. And part of that is that they don't know enough yet. But at the same time, the pressure on this White House and the president to come out and just tell people what they do know and what might be going on, because people are terrified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Dan, you look at recovery operations, we know those are still underway. And of course, the more fragments collected, the more we can learn about the objects. That is a process that is not complete yet. But walk us through what we do know right now. Carol sort of touched on this, but do we even know if all of these objects are balloons like that one that we first heard about?
You know, that's a good question, and it's so frustrating. There's so few answers, and I think they don't have those answers. I don't think they're hiding much information at this point. I think they're really struggling. What we do know is these last three that were shot down on Friday, Saturday, and yesterday were much smaller, but also last night the head of Northern Command in a briefing was saying it's possible that they are one or two of them might be like balloons, or balloon-like. In other words, there's not an engine on there. They're not moving at the speed of an aircraft or kind of a powerful drone. But again, we don't know. These could be research oriented. They could be sent up by universities or private companies. We don't know if a foreign adversary is behind this. The other thing is, they have said this. This is interesting. They've said they've kind of opened up the aperture and they're looking at more raw radar data. And so as a result, they're focusing on objects in the past they just would have basically ignored as clutter or static. And so now they're saying it's possible we're seeing more of these objects basically because we're looking for them. But then it does beg a question, are foreign adversaries or others sending more of these up in the air or sending more of them up in the air at an altitude that threatens civilian aircraft? We don't have reports that civilian aircraft are colliding with these things either. So it really is a mystery until we find out more. They're difficult to retrieve those objects. They're out in very cold places.
Well, let's listen to what Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski had to say, because this latest object crossed into her state. She has had a lot to say about these objects in general. Let's listen to this, Dan, and then I have a question for you right after.
To know that we have yet another unidentified object successfully shot down in Alaska, making sure that the message is clear that any sovereign territory or airspace in this country, if there's a threat, if there's an incursion, there's going to be consequences.
So clearly we are seeing an uptick in the number of these objects being seen, being shot down in the United States. But I'm curious, Dan, do we have any indication as to whether or not we're seeing this uptick because there's a breakdown in intelligence, or if it is a result of just the United States being more focused and looking for objects like this in its airspace?
That's the question we don't have an answer to, and it may be a combination. The Chinese air balloon raised real intelligence questions. Are there Chinese spy balloons out there that we're not seeing and we should have picked up before? These latest, most recent objects, it's an open question whether they're merely kind of harmless, innocuous items that we don't have to worry much about. But the answers are going to come, hopefully, from this recovery and looking at these the devices off South Carolina, but also what fell off the coast of Alaska and Canada and Michigan.
And Carol, the Biden administration is facing a lot of bipartisan criticism for what others say is a lack of transparency surrounding these objects. Congressman Jim Hines, the ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, had this to say on Meet the Press.
I have real concerns about why the administration is not being more forthcoming with everything that it knows. But part of the problem here is that both of the second and the third objects were shot down in very remote areas. So my guess is that there's just not a lot of information out there yet to share.
Carol, how much information have they actually gotten on Capitol Hill, and what could we see in the future?
Well, they don't feel like they've gotten enough. The administration has done briefings of various senators. They're more ad hoc. They've briefed Senator Tester of Montana, for instance, Senator Murkowski, Senator Schumer, the majority leader. He also said over the weekend that he was briefed by the president's national security advisor. But the demand for answers just is continuing to pile up. We also heard over the weekend from the House Intelligence Chairman saying that the administration was now trigger happy. So they're kind of in this position where they're getting criticism from both sides, and they're going there's a lot of pressure for them to be more forthcoming with Congress in some form.
All right, Carol and Dan, thank you both so much for your time. We appreciate it.
And now let's bring in Jamil Jaffer for more on this. He's the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. Jamil, good morning. As we mentioned earlier, U.S. intelligence has yet to figure out who owns these objects being shot down, but tensions are rising with China following the balloon takedown on February 4th. How has that incident impacted U.S. relations with China?
Well, Valerie, you're exactly right. Obviously, with the takedown of the balloon on February 4th, the known Chinese spy balloon, which they've claimed was not a spy balloon, but a weather balloon gone awry. Obviously, that's raised tensions with China. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken did not go on his previously scheduled trip. The Chinese are now saying that they've detected an object near their airspace that they're considering shooting down. So it's clear that we have some level of tension with the Chinese. The real question is, what about these three other objects? What was their purpose? Were they sent by the Chinese government? Are they Russian? What do we know about them? And again, I think Congressman Hynes is exactly right. The administration needs to come out, tell the American people what they know, what they don't know, and most importantly, brief Congress on the details of what exactly is going on and where things stand and whether we expect to detect more objects like these over the coming days and weeks.
And we know there have been recovery operations to gather what's left of these objects. How much information will the U.S. be able to get from these objects and balloons?
Well, Valerie, that's a really important question. Obviously, we've shot down now 3 different objects, putting aside the balloon. And we know that at least those 3 objects were shot down, like the balloon was, by Sidewinder missiles, twice from F-22 Raptors and once from an F-16. Those missiles do have explosive force and may very well destroy the payload, if any, that these objects carry. One of the things that people suspect may be going on, that aviation analysts suspect is going on here, is that what the Chinese or the Russians or whichever adversary is sending these balloons our way are trying to do is to collect information on exactly how our air defense radars work, how our military, how our jet radars work, and how the missiles work in order to home in at that final stage of hitting an aircraft. And so it very well may be that even though these aircraft have been taken down, they've been able to collect and send back very valuable intelligence to the people that own them.
And real quick, bottom line, should Americans be worried about a threat to national security?
Well, the fact that we've seen these objects over American and Canadian airspace now multiple times suggests that if these vehicles were doing something more than surveillance, they could have nefarious intent. That obviously should be a concern, and we need to get our house in order and make sure that we're able to detect these objects and take them down if necessary, if they do in fact present a threat to the United States.
Okay, Jamil Jaffer, thanks so much.
The unidentified objects entering North American skies dominated the conversation on Meet the Press yesterday. Here is Chuck Todd with more of his interview with Connecticut Congressman Jim Hynes.
Hello there, Valerie and Ellison. This week on Meet the Press, I spoke with Congressman Jim Hynes of Connecticut. He's the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Here's what he had to say about the lack of details the Biden administration has provided on the recent incidents involving these mysterious high-altitude objects that have been entering U.S. airspace.
I haven't been briefed either. And I do think, by the way, look, I got a very detailed briefing on the first Chinese balloon, and I think the decision-making process there was very good. We now own something that we're going to exploit for intelligence. I think the decision-making was good. But I would observe for you as well that that we didn't hear about the first balloon until it was over Montana. And again, I think there may be reasons for it, but and maybe it's because I'm in politics and so spend a lot of time talking to folks in grocery stores and town hall meetings. In an absence of information, people will fill that gap with anxiety and other stuff. So I wish the administration was a little quicker to tell us everything that they do know.
Worst case scenario, this is China doing, basically not taking any lesson from our decision to shoot down the first one. If we find out these 2 objects are also of Chinese government origin, what does that say about our relationship right now?
Well, first of all, I'd be surprised by that. I'm going to be careful because I don't know what the second and third objects were, but I'd be surprised by that. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the Chinese are probably pretty embarrassed that they let a surveillance platform, the first one, go over the United States. It became a, cause celeb around the world. We now own it. That's not a comfortable thing for the Chinese. And, of course, we canceled the trip of the Secretary of State. So my guess is that the other 2 objects are not Chinese, that China is doing everything they can right now to keep as low a profile as possible.
You can see that full interview and a lot more at MeetThePress.com. You can also get more Meet the Press right here on NBC News Now, every day at 4 p.m.
Chuck Todd, thank you so much for that.
Rescuers in Turkey and Syria are making desperate attempts to find more survivors 1 week after two catastrophic earthquakes decimated towns and villages in the region. The death toll now stands at more than 35,000. But as the window to save lives shrinks by the hour, rescuers in Turkey miraculously saved this woman who'd been trapped under the rubble for 176 hours. Over in Syria, the flow of aid has not been as smooth, with support still struggling to get into the country amid ongoing political disputes. The UN's emergency relief coordinator said the international community had, quote, failed the people of Syria. Back in Turkey, there's mounting anger at the developers behind some of the collapsed buildings. Authorities have arrested more than 100 people accused of shoddy and illegal construction methods as part of an official investigation into the earthquake's aftermath. NBC News foreign correspondent Kelly Kobiella has the latest from Turkey.
Well, if you just look around me, this is what this ancient city of Antakya looks like today. It's a city in ruins. Everywhere you look, on every street, there is rubble, there are collapsed apartment buildings, there are homes ripped open, buildings that look like they're about to fall over, severely tilting. Yet amidst all of this, a woman was rescued today after being buried in the rubble for 176 hours. After a weekend of incredible rescues, a 10-year-old girl was pulled out alive, a 64-year-old woman, a father, and his 5-year-old daughter, all rescued on Sunday. But a lot of families are hoping for their own miracles and finding that it's just not the case. It's just not going to happen. One man we spoke to came here from Moscow. He flew here to be with his 22-year-old son. He said that they were losing hope that his ex-wife would be found alive. They are living in their car on the street, and that's the case for a lot of people still. They're building fires at night to stay warm, taking shelter where they can find it. More aid is starting to arrive. Tent cities are popping up, but it's clearly not enough for the number of people affected. And people are also getting very angry. There was an earthquake here, devastating earthquake in 1999, after which the laws were changed to prevent scenes like this. And over the weekend, Turkish authorities arrested more than 100 builders, contractors, developers accused of using shoddy construction practices in some, at least, of the buildings that collapsed. There is still an active rescue effort ongoing in this city and other parts of Turkey. But the UN chief this morning said that phase of this disaster is coming to a close.
Okay, Kelly, thank you so much for that reporting.
And this week, we are looking at a 1-2 punch of weather.
Let's bring in meteorologist Michelle Grossman for more on this and to check out your morning news now. Weather. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning to you both. Happy Monday. And yeah, another weather week where we're going to see active weather. And we do have that 1-2 punch in the west. The first storm right now, and then we're going to see another storm tomorrow. And that's mainly in the west. And then it's all going to move off to the east, bringing many impacts with it. So let's first start with the cold side, because we were expecting wintry weather. We're seeing it now in portions of the west. The Four Corners especially seeing some wintry weather today. But you can see those winter alerts stretching from the west into the Intermountain West, the southwest, also portions of the Central Plains. And these alerts are in place through Thursday. So 8 million people impacted. Where you see the pink, that is your winter storm warning. The blue is a winter storm watch, and the white is a winter weather advisory. That's the wintry part. We do have a wind alert as well. We're going to see winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. That could cause some power lines coming down, some power outages, and these stretch across the country too. At least the western half of the country, from the west into the Intermountain West, also portions of the south as well. And then as we get further into the week, we have the threat for some severe weather. But for the wind alerts, we're looking at 35 million people at risk. These alerts are in place through Tuesday. This is the setup. We have that first area of low pressure coming in. That's going to bring heavy snow across the Four Corners, also the Cascades, really strong winds in the southwest. And then by tomorrow, right on the heels of that first storm, we're looking at a second storm, and that's going to impact the Four Corners once again, the Rockies, with some snow as well. And then we're going to see snow and rain stretching from the upper Midwest, portions of the Great Lakes. You could even see some heavy rain falling in portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, where you see those brighter colors, the yellows and reds, the oranges. That's where we're expecting the heaviest rain. By Wednesday, difficult travel for many, especially in the plains, due to heavy snow falling, also wind. And then this is where we're going to introduce a chance for severe weather. We're talking tornadoes, high winds, hail even, and really some heavy rainfall. That's mainly in the south portions of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana. So we're going to watch that very closely. Thursday, that severe weather threat does shift into portions of the Gulf states. Back to you guys.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much for that.
Cool. It was beautiful weather last night for Super Bowl 57. The Kansas City Chiefs fans are celebrating big this morning after an epic win against the Philadelphia Eagles last night.
Yeah, I did not make it all the way through, but I am told it was a nail-biter with the Eagles and Chiefs tied in the fourth quarter. But despite having an ankle sprain, Mahomes pulled out a win yet again. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster joins us now from outside State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Shaq, first of all, you have to love this assignment, but please do tell us what went down. It was anybody's game. The Chiefs were 10 points down at halftime. How did they manage to pull off this win for their second Super Bowl victory in 4 years?
Good morning. And, you know, you answered the question a little bit there in your intro. Patrick Mahomes, despite being down at halftime 10 points, despite tweaking his ankle at the end of the first half, he was able to come back after halftime and lead his team to 3 consecutive touchdown drives. And, you know, so many fans ahead of this game said that they expected a close, high-scoring game, and that is exactly what they got. I will say, if you are a Phillies fan, you're a little upset that that last drive ended on a penalty. Ended on a field goal, but there was that penalty that let the Chiefs run down the clock a little bit, but it was a close game, a nail-biter really throughout.
And Shaq, Mahomes definitely earned his title of NFL MVP and Super Bowl MVP last night. You watched the game from a bar outside the stadium last night. How were fans reacting to this game?
Well, let me first qualify that by saying I was assigned to go to the bar to watch the game. This was not my idea. It was an assignment. I was there for a reason. But I'll tell you, throughout the game, you had fans on both sides going back and forth at each other. At one point, the Eagles felt really good and were making sure that the Chiefs fans knew their presence, knew that they were there. And then the Chiefs came in at the end and made sure that their dominance was clear. I want you to listen to some of the conversations that we had after the game.
Amazing. I came all the way from Texas for this game. Very intense, but rewarding at the end. So rewarding.
Mahomes is amazing. Yes, he pulls through every time.
No, I thought Hurts had it all the way.
I was nervous.
He's a better quarterback, really.
You know, after the game in some of the official post-game pressers, Mahomes had a lot of praise for his competing quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Hurts said this is something that he's going to learn from. He says you either win or you learn, and he plans to learn and take away serious lessons from the loss last night.
And Shaq, we obviously got to ask you about Rihanna before you go. Her first time taking the stage in, 7 years? Amazing show, but there was a lot of buzz about things outside of her performance. Give us all the details. Is she having a baby?
Yeah, her rep confirms that she is pregnant, that she is having a baby. And really what I sense from folks watching the show is that if you love Rihanna, if you knew her music, then you enjoyed the show. She did not bring out any other special guests, any other artists, but she did have that special guest there on stage with her. I want you to listen to what some fans said about her show, and some of them not even realizing that she was pregnant.
Oh, I loved it when she came out and rubbed her belly, and it's the crowd, and then everybody. It was awesome. I loved it.
Excellent, beautiful, probably the best. Oh, she threw around. She made it happen tonight.
I told her. I said she's pregnant. She was like, but I knew it.
It was confirmed.
It was.
Baby number 2.
those last two who you heard from, they were raving about the show. They said it was the best Super Bowl ever. They said it was a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. And then I said, what do you think about the baby news? And that's what led to that reaction. They had no idea. There's a lot of excitement about both the performance, but about the news as well.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the performance. And I got to say, I also loved the side videos of A$AP Rocky on the field, just really excited watching it. I thought it was a great show. You forget how many hits she had. Oh, it was awesome. Well, Shaq, thank you so much. We appreciate you schlepping to the bar for this assignment.
Have a good one.
Bye. Coming up, we're entering a fourth week for dramatic testimony in the Alex Murdaugh trial.
Yeah, from financial concerns to previous family incidents, we will break down where the trial stands right now, plus what Murdaugh's wife allegedly told the family housekeeper before her murder. You're watching Morning News Now. We're back with the latest on the double murder trial of former attorney Alex Murdaugh, which is now stretching into its fourth week.
Last week's testimony provided more details into what happened the night of the brutal murders, with the family's housekeeper testifying on Friday that Margaret Murdaugh was concerned about her family's finances in the months leading up to the killings.
She was worried because a lawsuit had been presented stating that they wanted $30 million. Maggie was crying. Maggie said, we don't have that kind of money.
Joining us now to discuss is NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Danny, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us. So much of this has been centered around Alex Murdaugh's alleged financial issues, and we just heard from the family's housekeeper the financial worries. What do you make of all of this, and what is the defense saying?
I think this is actually a big mistake for the prosecution. Here's why. There are a couple reasons. Number one, it's going to be a hard sell to at least some of the jurors that this guy had financial problems, granted they were huge, and therefore he killed his wife and son to get sympathy. I don't know. Do you buy it? Does everyone buy that theory of responsibility, or that theory of motive is what it is? And then secondly, there's the risk of boring jurors. I just had a federal trial in which there was a ton of financial evidence, and that was the moment you saw jurors sort of kind of drowsing off in the seat. So this much financial evidence about an issue that jurors may ultimately reject, I think could be a problem, and I think it reached its apex when they called that woman right there to testify. This is someone who knew Murdaugh's wife very well, and she had complained about her financial concerns about this $30 million lawsuit. I think you're getting a little far afield. Who isn't worried about money? Now, granted, none of us have a $30 million lawsuit against us, but we all worry about our finances. And that kind of testimony I would have been howling about objecting to. And I think it could be appealable error if there is a conviction.
Yeah, it was interesting being in South Carolina for this trial last week, watching particularly the last 3 days where they went in on these different threads of layers as it relates to financial issues, concerns, and just allegations of crimes. I had a difficult time keeping up with it and heard a lot of people saying locally as well, can people follow this? There has been, though, some more concrete evidence, specifically videos. I think we're now up to 3 people saying in a Snapchat video that the now deceased son, Paul Murdaugh, had taken that night at the hunting lodge. You could hear, they said, Alex Murdaugh's voice in the background. How big of a deal is that?
Super big deal. And this goes exactly to my point. I'm glad you brought that up, that the prosecution has a lot of evidence without this financial crime evidence. And you can bet that when they get to closing, I'm already anticipating they're going to take all of this evidence and put it into a timeline to show that whatever Alex Murdaugh suggested about his alibi, whatever that may be, it doesn't fit with the facts. And the technology that Murdaugh did not anticipate will show that none of his story is plausible. That this timeline shows that he was there, despite what he says, thanks to technology, thanks to GPS, thanks to cell tower pings. All of this together builds the circumstantial case that the state has without all of this financial crimes distraction. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think it's probable that he gets convicted, but now you have appealable issues if he is convicted, and I still think that that theory of motive may not work with 1 or 2 jurors.
And what will you be watching for this week? Do you think prosecutors will be wrapping up?
It's hard to say. The prosecution witness list ran into the couple hundreds, I believe, and they haven't really been on track, which is understandable. It's a high-profile trial. You're going to get a lot more objections and sidebars and issues. I mean, we spent 2 or 3 days, I think, arguing about whether the financial crime evidence comes in, and that was not expected. That was because the defense arguably opened the door. They stepped on a mine, and now you had to send the jury out and have 2 days of argument about whether this financial crimes evidence comes in. So if I'm betting, if I'm forecasting, it's likely to take longer than we expect.
All right. Thanks, Dan. You so much. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All right, and coming up, the latest on the war in Ukraine as the country approaches 1 year since Russia launched its full-scale invasion. The new steps Russia is taking this morning to control eastern parts of the country as Ukraine gets more help from abroad.
Plus, keeping the faith, the group is working hard to save some of America's historically black churches. The important stories these churches tell next.
Welcome back. Over the weekend, Russian forces launched new attacks in an effort to gain more territory in Ukraine. Yesterday, the Wagner Group said their mercenaries captured a village near Bakhmut. NBC News correspondent Raf Sanchez has the latest.
Russia's new offensive grinding across eastern Ukraine, slowly taking ground, but at a bloody cost. Russian Wagner Group mercenaries claim to have captured a village near Bakhmut, tightening the noose around Ukrainian troops holding out in the besieged city. But Russian casualties the highest they've been since the first weeks of the war, losing more than 800 men every day, according to Ukraine. British military intelligence says Russia is suffering from a lack of trained personnel, coordination, and resources across the front. Ukraine's own casualty figures a closely guarded secret, but they too are suffering severe losses.
The Russians stepping up attacks on Kyiv and other cities using both missiles and self-destructing drones. Ukraine says the main target, the power grid, trying to deprive civilians of light and heat in the depths of winter.
All right, Raf, thank you so much for that.
Turning now to what's become a growing issue at sea. Migrants are now traversing open waters, hoping to make it to the U.S., many times on homemade boats like these, meeting danger along the way, with the U.S. Coast Guard keeping track of it all, often releasing images like these, hoping to prevent tragedy. NBC News' Juan Venegas has that story.
They are the eyes in the sky over thousands of miles of open water on a mission to save and intercept. The U.S. Coast Guard granting NBC News access to one of their planes, cameras documenting how they patrol the ocean. Within the first hour, flying over a group of migrants stranded on an island near the Bahamas. Floating nearby, 2 empty vessels.
Cameras and radars on the plane are used to spot the vessels before we can actually look at them. Then other officers will look out the window and actually be able to see them out here.
This group of migrants brought on board to a Coast Guard cutter. It's all part of an ongoing surge in migration headed to the Florida coastline. The U.S. Coast Guard says more than 8,000 migrants have been interdicted on water in the Florida sector since October. This vessel carrying over 300 migrants crowded on a sailboat. The surge prompting Governor Ron DeSantis to declare a state of emergency, making additional resources available, including the National Guard. The majority of the migrants coming from Cuba and Haiti, often with limited supplies. Most of the migrants found at sea will be repatriated by the Coast Guard, but policing the waters means also bringing humanitarian support for what can often become a deadly voyage.
Had a case a couple of weeks ago where we found people on Nakia, the island we flew over earlier. They had written SOS in the sand, and I had happened to see it while we were flying by, and we were able to drop them food, water, a radio so they could talk to us, and we could let them know, hey, you know, we're going to have people coming to get you, and they were picked up within 2 hours.
But the surge in numbers continues, and the vessels seen at sea are a proof of the desperation.
A lot of these vessels are very homemade, and in that way, they're very unseaworthy. So I've seen vessels that have motors to literally a paddleboard with suitcases on the side of it with 3 people, just trying to hopefully drift up towards the United States. And I think that's the really scary thing for us, is because these vessels are so unseaworthy, you know, we don't know how long they're going to last.
Yet, even with air support and technology, the mission to find all illegal vessels is virtually impossible. Florida state authorities say at least 5,400 migrants have been apprehended after making it to U.S. soil illegally since October of last year. DHS Secretary Mayorkas speaking to Jose Diaz-Balart, sending a message to those migrants.
People who take to the sea will not be eligible for the parole process.
For the U.S. Coast Guard, the mission continues. When our airplane lands, another goes in the sky. Guad Venegas, NBC News, Miami.
Guad Venegas, thanks so much for that report.
As Black History Month continues, we are taking a look at how one organization is trying to keep the faith through their work preserving historically Black churches. NBC News correspondent Blaine Alexander has the details.
In every corner of Old Ship AME Zion Church, the joyful noise is resounding. But this soulful sanctuary in Montgomery, Alabama is more than a house of worship. It's a living, breathing monument to history.
It's the oldest African-American church in the city of Montgomery. About God.
Pastor Kathy McFadden has been at the helm for 2 decades, just a fraction of Old Ship's stunning 171-year history. Founded by slaves in 1852, a century later, Old Ship held meetings to help plan the Montgomery bus boycott. And through the years, it's hosted a who's who of historical figures.
Frederick Douglass, President McKinley, Booker T. Washington, and Dr. Martin Luther King.
All of them spoke here.
All of them spoke here.
Now, Old Ship is getting new restoration thanks to a grant from the African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund, part of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. In all, $4 million to 35 historic Black churches around the country. Why is it so important to focus on Black churches?
Black churches are among the oldest institutions in the United States. These places have been at the forefront of meaningful and critical democratic reform in American society. You can't tell the story of America without talking about the story of Black churches.
On the list, 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, where 4 little girls were killed by a Klansman's bomb in 1963. And Reedy Chapel in Galveston, Texas.
That's associated to emancipation and Juneteenth.
For Old Ship, the money means restoring its bell towers damaged by rainwater, and outside, a facelift.
Repainting, making sure that the structure stays sound for another 170 years.
Welcome news for member Joseph Trimble. His family history here dates back to slavery.
What does it mean to you to know that this church is going to be preserved for future generations?
Oh my God, it means so much. It means that our history as a people, African American people, and as a Christian faith will continue.
They will see this beautiful church that is still a pillar in the community, not only spiritually, but physically by its aesthetics.
Here, it's music to their ears. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Montgomery, Alabama.
We're gonna keep holding on.
Coming up, the way we look up something online could soon change. More and more search companies are turning to artificial intelligence. We'll show you what it could look like the next time you Google something.
Plus, cashing in. We have a new list of the highest paid performers of the last year. From Taylor Swift to Bad Bunny, we're breaking down the big names earning big in just a few minutes.
Welcome back, and time for your financial headlines. Ford is set to make a big announcement.
Yes, CNBC's Pippa Stevens joins us now with all of the details. Good morning, Pippa.
Good morning. Well, Ford could announce plans as soon as today to build a more than $3 billion lithium battery plant in Michigan. Reuters reports the plant would be located about 100 miles west of Detroit. It will be operated by Ford with Chinese battery maker CATL as a technology partner. The factory could eventually employ at least 2,500 workers. And Apple has 4 fintech projects in the works, but only one, Apple Pay Later, is expected to launch this spring. The company has already announced a savings account for the Apple Card, but Bloomberg reports 2 others haven't been announced yet. Apple Pay monthly installments and an iPhone hardware subscription program. The subscription plan was supposed to launch with the iPhone 13 or 14, but it suffered technical setbacks that have led to missed deadlines. And McDonald's will help you find love at first bite. It unveiled a special meal deal for two with an ad ahead of the Super Bowl that has the backing of celebrity couple Cardi B and Offset. The meal is available for a limited time starting tomorrow. It includes a cheeseburger with barbecue sauce and a large Coke, Cardi B's preferences, and a quarter pounder with cheese and a large high-C orange drink, which is Offset's choice, plus a large order of fries and an apple pie. McDonald's says the price will be determined by individual restaurants. You know, I think between the two, I'm going with Cardi B's pick.
I'm with you, Pippa. That sounds good to me.
So Offset. But I was going to say, what are you guys doing tomorrow? Do you want to go to McDonald's?
Lunch date. Yeah. Pippa, thank you so much. The AI revolution is upon us, says the titans of tech go head-to-head over who can make the best AI-infused search engine.
Yeah, NBC News correspondent Jake Ward explains how artificial intelligence could soon revolutionize the very way we use the web.
A multi-billion-dollar duel is underway to be the front door of the internet.
The race starts today.
Microsoft announced artificial intelligence will soon allow conversations with its software and search engine Bing. Google raced to announce similar plans. Both tech giants trying to change the internet from a world in which we navigate between web pages to one where interactive discussions with chatbots gives us information.
We only scratched the surface of what's possible with AI.
For a generation, Google has been the verb for finding things online, and it commands more than 90% of the search engine market. But Microsoft, thanks to its partnership with ChatGPT maker OpenAI, is on the attack.
The most profitable large software business is search. So I look at this and say, I just have to earn one user at a time. I've never, ever felt this liberated in terms of opportunity in the days ahead.
It definitely is an arms race. Bing is rocketing up the App Store charts. So much of the world is organized around serving Google and understanding what people are searching for in Google.
Chinese tech giants Baidu and Alibaba also plan to debut new AI technology. But while chatbots look authoritative, AI can make mistakes. Google's own demo for its new chatbot called Bard included a basic factual error, and research has shown that AI trained to mimic human language picks up our biases.
Just having for-profit companies pushing this technology out is a recipe for a multitude of problems.
Critics worry the race to make money from AI technology is moving too fast.
I would love to hear a CEO saying, look, we've got the research, we're capable of making it, but we're pausing, and we urge others to do so as well, instead of just saying, oh, we're going to outrace the other.
But with billions at stake, the race is already on. Jake Ward, NBC News, San Francisco.
Now for a look at this year's top earners in showbiz.
Yeah, this morning Forbes released its list of the highest paid entertainers, and this year's top 10 range from rock and roll Hall of Famers to creators of your favorite cartoon shows. So who exactly made the cut in 2022? Here with the answer is Forbes senior entertainment reporter Lizette Voigt-Coe. Lizette, good morning to you. So walk us through how you came up with this list and who makes up the top three. Any surprises?
Sure. So the way that we compile this list is it's a year-long effort. We're looking at ongoing deals in the news. If someone sold a music catalog, such as Genesis or Sting, the top two earners of this year. We're also talking to analysts. We're talking to industry insiders, agents, attorneys, anyone who's been in those rooms where these deals happen. And it's a really, really exciting effort, and it's a really exciting project because you get to learn so many things that aren't necessarily reported in the news.
And Lizette, the creators of two of the biggest animated shows are also on the list, The Simpsons and South Park. These shows have been on the air forever, 4 decades at this point. Why was last year so lucrative for them?
Sure. So we have the creators of South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, along with two of the co-creators of The Simpsons, James L. Brooks and Matt Groening. And the reason that these shows, which have been on, The Simpsons 34 years, South Park definitely just celebrated its 25th anniversary actually last year. Streaming is incredibly lucrative for these really popular cartoons. The South Park creators signed a deal with Paramount in 2021 that guarantees them nearly $1 billion over the next 6 years. Whereas with the Simpsons creators, we actually found out that even though they signed a deal in 2019 to move their the show directly from FX to Disney Plus for streaming. We have a previously unreported $105 million they pocket each year after fees. And we're really excited to report that because it hasn't been discovered before, apparently.
And Bad Bunny has had just success on success on success. This year, Ojito Lindos came out, which is fantastic. He finally is on this list. Explain to us how Bad Bunny managed to make the cut.
Absolutely. So if you've been paying attention in world music over the last few years, you know Bad Bunny's been one of the most streamed artists across the globe. And what he did last year, he went out on 2 tours that were extremely lucrative. For the calendar year of 2022, he grossed over $400 million in ticket sales. And in terms of what he actually takes home and puts in his pocket from those 2 tours, his second tour that year, the world's hottest tour, it was a really flashy production. He's flying around on a palm tree. They're playing stadiums. They're using, up to 40 trucks in the U.S. to cart their gear around. All that effort takes extra money. So in terms of what he brought home, including his endorsements with, Cheetos and Adidas, and he also appeared in a film role in Bullet Train alongside Brad Pitt. Altogether, that netted him $88 million after fees.
That's a lot of money. All right, Lizette Voitko, thank you so much.
Coming up on Morning News Now, the clock is ticking.
Yeah, if you're looking for a romantic night out tomorrow, you may be running out of time to get that coveted dinner reservation. We will tell you how to snag a last-minute table up next. Welcome back. Last night, Rihanna wasn't the only one shining as bright as a diamond. Just after Riri's pregnancy announcement, fans took to social media to share their love for this year's halftime show's ASL interpreter. Videos of Justina Miles are going viral for her enthusiastic signing, showing off her dance move and bringing her energy during the coveted spot. With fans calling her exceptional and a true star, at just 20 years old, Miles has made history as the first deaf female performer to sign during the Superbowl halftime show. I was so excited to see her perform. I'd seen an interview where she talked about having a conversation with her mom, who is also deaf, and her saying, just be who you are. You're this girl from Philly. You are a deaf, black girl. Do your thing. And it seems like she really did. And she said that calmed her. So it was very cool to see.
It was so fun to see her really get into it,
yes,
too.
It's amazing. And it's so important for people to have access to language in all spaces, but also to see her just do it so well and represent her community across the board so well. It was really cool.
Fun to watch.
Big fan. Yeah.
For all you last-minute planners, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and if you're looking for a night of dimly lit romance, you may have faced a new obstacle. You need a reservation. Executive editor of Condé Nast Traveler, Aaron Florio, joins us now with more on the changes to the reservation game and how you can still snag a seat. Good morning, Aaron. We know since the pandemic, we've seen more and more reservation apps become available, like Resy and Open Table. Almost every restaurant uses those now. Is that your best option, and just how accurate are they when it comes to finding out if your favorite place is already booked?
Hi, good morning. Yes, we have seen a lot of changes coming out of the pandemic, and you're quite right. It seems that every restaurant now is using Resy, and everyone you talk to is sort of talking about trying to get a reservation on one of these apps for Valentine's Day or any other day of the week. I think your best bet is to try to use these apps, but I will say if you're seeing that the majority of the restaurant is booked or it seems like it's already booked, keep in mind that restaurants still do generally hold walk-in space. So you're not completely out of luck if it seems you can't get the reservation that you want. It's always worth trying other ways.
So it does feel like if you're looking for restaurants at this point, you're kind of playing with fire to begin with, because restaurants are always busy on Valentine's Day, right? But what is making it harder or different this year in particular?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're quite right. I think something like over 70% of people are planning on dining out this Valentine's Day. So you're really up against a tough crowd to get a spot, especially if you've left it last minute. I think, one of the things coming out of the pandemic is that it's turned a lot of us, including those of us who were never planners, into planners. And of course, having tools like Resy, Open Table helps us do just that. So it has become a lot more difficult if you haven't prepared in advance using these applications to get that reservation. But again, all is not lost. Do not despair if you haven't got the reservation yet. There are still some ways in which you can get that table.
And we know you might be taking your chances just walking in. Sometimes that doesn't work. Do you think that deters people from eating out, or is there something about the exclusivity that makes it seem a little more enticing?
Well, I live in New York City, and it's very notoriously hard to get a walk-in table in a timely manner. You're always going to be prepared for a wait. But I do want to remind people that walk-in is still an available option. Resi has not completely replaced the walk-in section of a restaurant. I think if you strategize a little bit around walking in for your table, it can really work. Be prepared to wait. Be prepared to, have a drink, have 2 drinks before you can finally sit down. And don't walk in famished. If you're going to try and do a walk-in, don't walk in needing to eat within the next 15 minutes because it might be a little bit of a wait, but try it.
All right, for people who do want to try to get a last-minute, officially booked reservation, any tips on how they could get that? And if people are deciding they should plan ahead next year, how far in advance, ideally, should you book for a big night like this?
Sure. So what I would say is, even if you're trying these reservation apps and it seems that your preferred time at your preferred restaurant is fully booked, a lot of these apps actually have a virtual waiting list option. And what that means is your time slot isn't available, but you can still put your name down, your party number down, and you will go on a waiting list and you will be notified if people cancel. And on Valentine's Day, people do cancel because people make several reservations at once. I would recommend trying to do that not just for one place, but doing it for several places. Another thing I would always recommend, call the restaurant. You just never know what might happen if you make a human connection, get somebody on the phone. You might be privy to information that the Resi app or other apps can't give you. And finally, if you just find that you're out of luck for this year, get on top of it for next year. It depends on the city you're in. It's funny, across the U.S., we've seen a lot of variety in terms of how people are booking for Valentine's Day. In cities like Dallas, people are booking about 23 days in advance. So, get your plans in order if you're in a city like Dallas. But in a place like New York, Chicago, it's only about 7 days in advance. You have a little more time.
All right. Lots of good tips. Good luck to everyone tomorrow. Erin, thanks so much for joining us.
And that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.